What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the SVR Podcast. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the SVR Podcast. Today, we have another independent artist that started his music back in 2016. Without any further ado, let me introduce to you. His name is Cihtym.
Name Cihtym. Used to go by Mythic, and I'm a rapper.
Alright, Cihtym. So basically what I'm trying to do with you is ask you 10 questions regarding about your musical journey in general and which musician do you admire the most and much more. Without any further ado, man, are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, so the first question that I'm gonna start out is, how did the journey with music have started in 2016?
So I've actually been writing before 2016. I was writing I would say since 5th grade, but that kind of stuff, it wasn't really anything insane. I took it a little bit more serious in middle school, but it was funny because I would write lyrics to stuff that had nothing to do with me. I'd be talking marriage or something like that, and I would show my uncle and stuff, and he was always like, "Oh, it's cool, but do you even know what that kind of stuff is like?" And I was like, "No, I was just writing lyrics and stuff like that." And he told me anybody can write lyrics and stuff like that, but write what you know. And that's kind of something that's always stuck with me. Um he was one of those people that was into all genres and stuff like that. But in school and stuff like that, I'd write lyrics, but I did a lot more art instead. Because that was the main thing I was really good at least compared to people that I went to school with. Um they weren't crazy with art and stuff like that. And nobody really knew I wrote lyrics. It was just kind of something I did on the side. But in high school, I started really taking it a lot more serious, and I slowly showed some people, I showed my writing teacher and stuff like that, and she was I remember her telling me it was really good and stuff like that. But there was also people that I showed my stuff to, and they were like, "Yeah, don't do it. Stick to the art and stuff like that." And it sucked, because it was people that I considered friends, and they were just "Just stick what you're good at. Like, don't do all that stuff." Um, but the thing is with art, I like it, but then I don't at the same time. It was one of those things I felt like I was kind of forced into it, just because I thought that's all I had. Um, and in the end, I was nah, once I graduated high school, I was telling myself it I really want to try out music. And I wasn't really a very talkative person in school and stuff like that. I usually kept to myself. A lot of people, they came to me, and usually it was just to see what I was drawing. Um, but like I started in August of 2016. That was when I released my first song, and the song was called "Need Some Sleep." I mean, yeah, it was a corny song, but um, I shouldn't say corny. It was cringe. Like, definitely, I look back at it and I'm like, "Geez," it because I recorded it in my sister's room, and um, I was using my younger brother's headset for the PC. And I mean, the PC was already pretty bad, so it's it wasn't anything crazy. But, I figured out how to do the recording and stuff like that, on my own, like, cause I didn't have anybody to teach me, so I had to use YouTube and stuff like that, and I ended up downloading Audacity and just going with that from there. Um, so that's, like, kinda how the music started. It wasn't really like I was influenced to do it, it was just something that I really enjoyed myself, so I just kinda stepped into it.
Alright, second question. That will be, which musician do you admire the most musically and what?
Be honest, like, I wouldn't say there's, like, just one. There's so many people that, like, have their number 1 go-to artist. I mean, like, but we all have phases and stuff like that. Like, our our top will constantly change. Like, I mean, some people, like, it doesn't change, like, but that's usually, like, people that we consider, like, stans and stuff like that. Um, but, like, for me personally, like, it changes. Like, I mean, my favorite all-time rap group is going to be Bone Thugs because that's what I grew up with. Um, Thanks to my mom, like, that's what she always played and stuff like that. Like, she played some Tupac and she played some, Ice Cube and stuff like that, but, like, Bone Thugs was her favorite, and I like, with them, I remember, like, learning their lyrics before I even knew, like, what they were even saying. I would sit there and I would, have my CD player out, and I would have, like, the Busy Bone, Before I Go track, like, the CD and the thing, and I'd be sitting there with my headphones on, listening to it over and over again until I learned the lyrics, and, like, I look back now, like, even, like, years ago, I'd look back and I'm like, I absolutely had no idea what he was talking about, but I loved it because the way he did it, he just had a really unique voice. Um, and I love Crazy Bone. Like, he's definitely one of my favorite rappers. Like, just the way that Bone Thugs mixes rapping with melodic, it just like it's just perfect, honestly, in my opinion. And they are definitely a group that I would love to work with one day. Um, like I've said, in middle school, that was mainly my Eminem phase, like, because I got into that and I was like, "Whoa, like, this is crazy." Like, I've never heard, like, anybody that was, like, white that rapped that good. And the way, like, just his voice inflections, just the bars that he had, it was just, like, blew my mind. And it's funny because I wasn't really huge on the Slim Shady stuff, but, like, there was some songs that was, like, there that I actually enjoyed. Songs One of the Slim Shady ones that I really love the most, which I still love to this day, is "Without Me." Like, that one was definitely one of my favorites. Like, I used to know the lyrics to that 100%. Um, and then, like, I have, like, Hobson phase, Logic phase, like, just, Kanye, like, Dre, like, it switches all the time, like, Big Sean, Black Thought is more of a recent one. I was listening to I listened to all his projects that he had on Spotify and stuff like that. Um, and he's definitely underrated. Like, he might not be to, like, some people, like, but for what he's capable of doing, like, he's definitely underrated. Like, the man, like, when he writes, like, he's teaching you something. Like, that man, like, his oh my gosh, like, it still blows my mind. Like, his knowledge is in crazy it's just so crazy to me.
Third question. What hip hop album did you grow up listening to?
Um, so for me, it was basically the '99 album that, Bone Thugs did. Like, that was the one, like, Like Crap We Came, that was like one of my favorite songs on there. Had Crossroads and stuff like just all of those songs. Like those were the songs that I listened to probably the most. Um, it was just their music in general. Um, was definitely what I grew up listening to the most. But like I said, as I got older and stuff like that, I went to different artists and stuff like that. Like Eminem, it was Recovery was the first album I listened to by him. Still is my favorite album, but like even though I know it's not his best overall album, but it's just because that was what I first heard from him. But definitely the Eminem Show, like that's 100% probably his best work in my opinion. That and the Marshall Mathers LP. Like those are like pretty close, but Eminem Show tops it for me just because there's a lot more songs in there that I can uh like feel like I could listen to a lot more. I mean like um Marshall Mathers LP, like I love that song Criminal. That song was just it was a fun track and stuff like that. That was definitely one of the few that I actually really liked on that one. Yeah. And then like in high school, um one of the main albums I listened to a lot, that was like Logic. Like it was his Under Pressure and An Incredible True Story. Like I just really loved what he did with those. Like I said though, I wasn't really expanding my hip hop knowledge at that time. Like I was kind of in a small circle. Like I listened to stuff like Hobson and stuff like that and some Ye, but like I was really stuck on like Eminem for the longest time. And I think it was just because like he just had so much music and like I was constantly like just going through it all. Like I of course I listened to songs that were not Eminem, but like I listened to so much Eminem that like that's all that I knew the most of. And like I wish that I could go back and listen to other artists just as much because I mean I listen to a lot more artists now than I did, and it's like it's crazy how much I was missing out on. Yeah, M is definitely one of the best out there, but like there is so many good artists that are slept on and stuff. Like I wish I listened to Nas more. Like I mean, I did listen to some Nas, but like I've really been listening to him a lot more and stuff like that. Jay-Z, Wayne, like Big Sean, just all of them. I really like Tyler, the Creator, too. I've been listening to him, for a while now. Like, I wasn't really a big fan of Igor, but mainly because it was solely production-wise, like and I really like to hear lyrics and stuff, and it just and the subject, um, it didn't really, like, fit to me. I mean, I definitely respect it as a project because production-wise, it was very great. It was well done. Um, but, like, Call Me If You Get Lost, love that. Like, absolutely love the whole album.
Alright, moving on into the next question. So, do you have a particular thing that didn't go easy in music?
I would say, probably hooks. Like, when I was starting up and stuff like that, like, hooks is something I always struggled with because I was never able to perform it the way that I wished it sounded. Like, it's not obviously not the same now. Like, I'm able to do really good on my hooks. A lot of people find my hooks catchy and very listenable. Um, but before, like, it was just it kinda was dull and had no emotion to it. And I feel like that was something I struggled with a lot was, uh, showing, like, real emotion in my delivery. Uh, But the thing is that like something that did go easy was like my flow, and that was, I believe, from artists that I listened to. Like they were like Bone Thugs and stuff like that. Like they were more of a fast paced rapper, like stuff like Tech Nine. Like they're a faster paced rapper. So like rapping along to them and stuff like that, it I feel like it made it easier when I would rap like slower stuff. So it really helped with the flow. And like a lot of my writing and stuff like that, I learned from technical artists, like people like Royce M, Tech Nine, Bone Thugs, like just all of them. And like I I definitely want to expand and really like test more waters out. Like I've been really trying out like with the singing and stuff like that. Like I'm not trying to like bite the mainstream style or anything, but it's like trying to find something I can make that'll be unique to me. And doing so, like um it just basically takes experimenting, and hopefully things will work out and I can find a good mixture that will make me stand out.
Next question. So, what's gonna be the next album and how will it go essentially?
So I do have two projects in mind that are kind of in the works. Um, I'm constantly thinking ahead. Like, and it's not like I'm keeping myself in the future because I'm still focused on the present and making sure that I get what I'm doing now done. But it's always nice that when I'm not working on stuff that's in the present, to figure out what I want to do with my next project and where I want to go with it. Like right now, one project, like it's gonna be more of a to the R&B and like pop rap and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be more around that style. But then the other project that I'm working on, which may come out first, I don't know. It just depends on which way I feel like I should go in first. Um, but I have done more with that project than the one I was just talking about. But it's gonna be like me more having like fun with it. Not being really too like spitting something straight up with just a message like how I do on this project. But like I'm really wanting to open up and like just really have more fun with my stuff, like cuz I haven't done that kind of stuff in a while except for like ciphers and stuff like that. Like that's basically the only time I've been really doing any of that kind of fun stuff. Or if I get on a feature and they're just like, "Yo, I just want you to spit and stuff." And then I'll do my flows and I'll do the bars and stuff like that if they come to me. Which is one thing is I don't really do bars unless it comes to me because I don't want to have to use bars that's been overused. Like if I use a bar, it's most 100% like original to me. And that's how I like it. I don't like it when artists use bars that have been overused, where it's obvious that it's been used before. And if I use a bar that's been close to being used, that's what it is close because I'm still going to change it up enough to where it's still original to me, even if it's around a similar subject. Like taking into account something, a lot of people like do like the 9/11 bar or something like that. Like if I do something like that, I take a different approach with it that I haven't heard people do. But yeah, so the next project, it just honestly depends on what moves faster um, when it comes to the writing and everything.
Speaking of writing, moving on into the next one. Now, which song do you think it took you longest to release? Like, there's one particular song that it took you for a while to, officially finally release.
Longest song. There's actually, I believe, 2. I know there is 1, but I believe 2 songs that are on this project, um, are from, like, 2020, I'm pretty sure, because that, I believe, is when I was starting to work on my Bigger Than Me album, which ended up being scrapped because of my old PC, and, like, I was already kind of in the works of switching to this project that I'm doing now, because the thing is I realized that I didn't really wanna do an album, like, I wanted to, but the thing is I had limitations when it came to mixing, so I couldn't make it the production as high as I wanted it to, and there's still songs on there, like, that I really liked, and I was like, "I'm gonna use those for this project," and at this time now, like, my mixing has improved compared to when back then, because I actually did not mix my songs back then. I actually paid people, but it started getting too expensive because, I mean, paying people to mix my stuff and then having to buy beat leases on top of that, it gets very expensive. So, I ended up telling myself, like, I'm gonna learn how to mix myself until I don't have to. Like, I'm always gonna play a part when it comes into that, but and the same thing with art. When it comes to the art for my projects, I'm always going to have that artistic vision that I want into the creative process. So, it'll definitely be known once I'm at that point that I have people that are able to help boost that and improve in areas that I'm not the best in right now. Um, so I definitely can't wait until those days come, but, like, yeah, right now, there's 2 tracks on the project, I'm pretty sure that is taking the longest.
Seventh question. That will be, what movie has a memorable soundtrack?
That's a tough one, like, cause I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, because 'cause I'm, like, a really big movie guy, like, I really like watching movies and stuff, um, like, probably just as much as I like playing games and stuff, and to be honest, like, I don't think I could just pick one, like, cause it really just depends on the movie, but typically, I really love, like, motivational stuff, like, that's, like, the cinematic, like, motivation and stuff, um, so, like, usually it's, like, action movies or, like, stuff like that, that I typically love the soundtracks for. Yeah, I'd say that's probably usually my favorite.
Next question. So, ever since you have started making music, what do you think you have learned about yourself musically?
100% that, like, the only limits you have is, like, the limits that you put on yourself. Like, I kept telling myself before that, "Ah, I can't mix, it's too much. I can't do this, I can't do that." But when I started telling myself I can, I noticed that I was able to. It just takes time and dedication, and that's something that I've really learned from making music is, like, I can do it if I really want to. It just depends on your motivation, like, you have to be your biggest motivator, and I've realized, like, I can't rely on a lot of people. It's hard to rely on others because people have to rely on themselves first, them and them and their family, like, so I can never expect somebody to do something when I needed it done. So I had to just look at it like I need to focus on myself and do things for myself, especially like for free. But I never like expected people to do things for free for me because I've always had the mind state like you don't get it unless it's earned. And that's how I like to think. But, like, musically, I've definitely realized that my limits are not as strong as I thought they were. Like, with the hooks and stuff like that, like, I'm able to do hooks when I thought I couldn't, and it's one of those things. Practice makes you better. Like, there's no such thing as perfect, but, like, you can always get better, and that's what I believe that I've definitely grew, uh, through with the music.
We have two more questions left, so we'll be on into the ninth question. That will be, what are some musical videos that you like visually?
Honestly, I'm not gonna really, like, name specific ones, like, cause there's a lot out there. Like, that's a little hard to, like, just name like, a specific one. But, I really like stuff that's creative, like, stuff that Token has done, Hobson, stuff like Travis Scott, Lil Wayne, Eminem, like, those kinda things, like A$AP Rocky or Tyler, the Creator, like, how they get really creative with their videos. Denzel Curry, just all that kinda stuff, because they really, like, play with it and make a video that really stands out, and, like, me having an artistic vision, it's like, I can't wait until I'm able to create those where I'm able to have the budget to make something that, like, artistic to really show more depth into songs that I make, and I feel like it'll really drive the songs even farther than just the lyrics, because a music video is supposed to be something that's special. It's supposed to represent the song that you release. Like, I mean, if it's just a fun song, yeah, it you just have fun in your video. But like if it's a sad song, you do things that represent sadness. And same thing for like motivation, you have stuff that represents that. Um and that's why like music videos I feel should be powerful and stuff like that. Like they should also be able to display a message just like the song, because that's what really makes it stand out.
And the final question of the day before we're gonna end the podcast episode, that will be, what will be your future plans to make a difference in music?
Um, to be honest, like, um, the whole thing, like how people like hate on like the mumble rap and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I used to be one of those type of people, but it took me like sitting and like thinking like, yeah, I might not be a fan of what they talk about in their lyrics and stuff like that. And I'm not for people that appropriate the culture and stuff like that and use it to just make money. Like, I think that's definitely bullcrap. Like, people should not be doing that. But I want to be an artist that people can look to for motivation and understanding and like be able to have a relationship through that music. Like, I want people to feel like they know me as a person and stuff without me having to like go super deep, like, cause I don't want to talk about like just straight up my family and stuff like that, because that's really between me and my family. But like there's things that like if I feel like it's not too personal, I will be willing to talk about it. But like stuff that's outside of the family, like stuff that I haven't told people before or whatever, I have been more open on this project with like there's a song on there that I definitely talk about stuff that makes it more vulnerable as a song. And like towards me, uh, but I really want to prove that, like, you can make good music and, like and another thing, like, how I don't curse in my music, and it's like, I don't do it because, like, "Oh, cursing is wrong," and stuff like that, like, I just prefer not to, and I feel like it really opens up for a wider audience because I don't care if people get on my songs and they curse, like, that's them. I don't wanna change somebody, uh, in the way that they write their song or their verse, and I feel like me not doing that proves that you don't have to curse to make dope music and stuff like that, like, I can sit there and I can spit bars that are dope and stuff like that or just crazy flows. And it's so funny because there's so many people that don't even realize that I don't curse in my lyrics. And when they find out that I don't, they're mind blown because it's like they don't expect it because the way that I rap and stuff like that sometimes it's like one of those things like that's usually the typical like you hear somebody rap like that and you know that they're cursing. But when they hear me and they don't hear that, they're just like, "Wow, I didn't expect that." Like, I have more respect for that. And I don't even do it for that reason. Like, it's just I'm doing it to prove that it's capable of being done. And I like the fact that I know that any age can listen to my music, and it's not like I'm talking about stuff that is inspiring kids to do anything bad and stuff like that. Like, I'm not like I'm a clean person. I'm sober. I don't drink. I don't do drugs or anything. I don't smoke. I keep it clean, but I don't make it to like where I'm stuck in a box. Like with me, like I am a Christian and stuff like that. And like I'll have songs that I've talked about like my religion and stuff like that, but like I don't go to an extent to where it makes me come off as I'm a Christian rapper. It's more just I'm a rapper that is a Christian. Um so I wouldn't technically come off as somebody that's in that box. So because I don't do it all the time, I just do it when it feels it's necessary. So basically, I just want to be an inspiration to people and make music that is real to me.
Alright, that was it, folks. Cihtym, if you have anything to say towards the outro since we returned, can you make it somehow?
I just want to say thanks for like interviewing me, man. This is really cool. And I hope when the project comes out, everybody's rocking with it and stuff. Cause I've definitely been working hard on it. Yeah, that's basically it.
The links of his social media and platforms will be down description below. Make sure to also pre-save the album that he's gonna release it around next week. And yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of the SVR Podcast. See you later and goodbye.